Welcome to Down to Earth but Heavenly Minded podcast. I'm your host, Rish, and we have been going through the book, The Inner Chamber and the Inner Life. And today our reading is going to be Moses, the Man of Prayer. With that said, let us read. Before Moses was a patriarchal dispensation with the family life and the power of the Father had making it. Moses is the first man appointed to be a teacher and leader of men. In him we find wonderful illustrations of the place, the power, the intercession, and the servant of God. Moses' prayer. In Egypt, from the first call, Moses' prayer, he asked God what he was to say to the people. We read that in Exodus. He told him all his weaknesses and besought him to reveal, to be relived of his mission. When the people reproached him that their burden was increased, he went and told God, and he made known to him all his fears. This was his first training. Out of this was born his power in prayer, when time after time Pharaoh asked him to entrust the Lord for him, and deliverance came at Moses' request. Studying these passages in the book of Exodus until you come under the full impression of how real a factor in Moses' work and God's redemptive prayer was. Well, at the Red Sea, Moses cried to God with the people, and the answer came. In the wilderness, when the people thirsted, and when Amalek attacked them, it was also prayer that brought deliverance. At Sinai, when Israel had made the golden calf, it was prayer that at once availed the threatening destruction. It was renewed prayer and gained them restoration. It was more prayer that secured God's presence to go with them. And once again, it was prayer that brought the revelation of God's glory. And when that had been given, it was a fresh prayer that received the renewal of the covenant. In Deuteronomy, we have a wonderful summary of all this. We see with what intensity he prayed, and how, in one case, it was for 40 days and 40 nights that he fell on his face before the Lord. Excuse me. In Numbers, we read Moses' prayer, quenching the fire of the Lord and obtaining the supply of meat. Of prayer healing Miriam. The prayer again saving the nation when they had refused to go up to the land. Prayer brought down judgment on Korah, and when God would consume the whole congregation, prayer made atonement. Prayer brought water out of a rock, and in answer to prayer, the bronze serpent was given. To prayer, God will was made known in a case of difficulties, and Joshua gives as Moses successor. Study all this until the whole heart is filled with the thoughts of the part prayer must play. Many prayers in the life of a man who would be God's servant to his fellow man. As we study the prayers will unite into a living whole of Moses' will be to us a living model for our prayer life. We shall learn what it is needed to be an intercessor. The lesson that will come to us will be sure of these. I see Moses was a man given up to God's zealous, yea, jealousy for God, for his honor and will. A man, too, absolutely given up to his people, ready to sacrifice himself if that may be saved. Let me clear my throat a minute. Well, we see this in Moses' life, his honor and his will. A man, too, absolutely given up to his people, ready to sacrifice himself if that meant if it may be saved. The man conscious of the divine calling to act as mediator, to be the link of the channel of communication and of blessings between God in the heavens and man on earth. A life so entirely possessed by the mediatorial consciousness that nothing can be more simple and natural than to expect that God will hear. I see here God in answering to the prayers of one man, saved and blessed those he had entrusted to him, and does what he would not do without it. I see how the whole government of God has taken up prayer into its plan as one of its constant parts. I see how heaven is filled with the life and the power of blessing earth's needs, and how the prayers of the earth is the power to bring blessings down. I see above all how prayer is an index of the spiritual life, and how its power depends upon my relationship to God and the covenantness of being his representative. He entrusts his work to me, and the more simple and entire my devotion to him, to his interests are, the more natural and certain becomes the assurance that he has heard me. Think of the place God has in Moses' life as God who has sent him, the God who he was wholly devoted, the God who has promised to be with him and who would and didn't always help, and who did always help when and as he prayed. Well, now the practical application. How to learn to pray like Moses. We cannot secure this grace by an act of the will. Our first lesson must be a sense of importance. Then grace will work in us slowly and surely if we give ourselves unto its training. But through the training will be gradual, there is one thing can be done at once. We can at once decide to give ourselves to this life and take up the right position. Do this now. Take the decision to live entirely to be a channel for God's blessings to flow through you to the world. Take the step. If need be, take 10 minutes for deliberate thoughts. Accept the divine appointment and take up some object of intercession. Take time, seek a week, and get firm hold of the elementary truths Moses' example teaches. As a music teacher insists upon practicing the scales, only practice makes perfect. Set yourself to learn thoroughly and to apply the needed first lesson. God seeks men through whom he can bless the world. Says definitely, here am I. I will give my life to this. Cultivating large faith in the simple truth. God hears prayer. God will do what I ask. Give yourself as holy to men as to God, and set your eyes open to the sense of the need of the perishing world. Take up the position in Christ and in the power which his name and his life and his spirit give you, and go on practicing definite intercession. And that ends the reading of our text today. Until next time, Lord bless. See you later. Bye now.